Days before his death, John Lewis took a photo from a balcony in Washington, D.C., overlooking Black Lives Matter Plaza. John Lewis was one of my greatest heroes. The reason why is because I am not strong enough to be John Lewis. Not because I couldn't have had my head beaten in during the turmoil of the 1960s. Survive, live, to become an American hero. Turn around and get an apology from the guy that caused him brain damage, and then see this nation in the state that it is in. That same plaza, by a black mayor in Washington, D.C., was surrendered to Donald Trump under the pledge that he would not withhold monies from that formerly federal city. He did not keep his promise. They paraded Muriel Bowser around like a monkey for months. And once in a while, she would raise up and oppose some little thing that wouldn't piss him off. Let me be clear. I am a 25-year veteran of civil rights. And I'll tell you about my first action in a minute. But I find the black mayor of Washington, D.C., the black governor of the state of Maryland, and many others in Senate right now are the antithesis of what John Lewis stood for, and what I now call MAGA light. In solidarity with Paul Lance, a great content creator on YouTube. Now, I have no illusions of getting even one subscriber to this video, but please like and subscribe. It's no cost to you, but do understand, I am not here for the money, because I'm not making shit. As a matter of fact, I am probably poorer than you are. But I digress. So let me get back to what's going on here. Most of America, after all the abuses of Donald Trump, have not understood the motherfucking assignment. First, let me say to all you scared politicians in Congress, in the Supreme Court, you don't want to lose your jobs and your money and your connections and all your little goodies. And you claim that you care about us. We are in the process, and it is starting, it is a great movement. And it is starting, believe it or not, in the Maryland convalescent homes. People who can still vote know they are of sound mind. And the 80 and over crowd, the 65 and over crowd, are now joining the socialist movement because they do not believe anymore that the Democratic or Republican Party represents them. And I did a great interview today, but I'm going to get back to that. Anyway, These people I have been talking to for years now and telling them that Social Security was being eaten at and all that. Well, newsflash, Donald Trump is not only cutting Medicaid, but Medicare and Social Security. And that's in the new bill that's supposed to come out soon. And then Democrats are going to vote for it because they want you to believe that you can fix all this in November. Once again, I digress. Let me tell you something about us. We people of color, since 1492 and 1619, have never been disillusioned by white people. We have never been influenced as a race by white people and duped to believe that the white man had our best interests at heart. I am finding out every day that this was not the case. Sure, you have your MAGA light in Congress. Sure, you have Clarence Thomas. Absolutely, you have black evangelical Christians who say go along to get along. And absolutely, you have black people that say when they go low, we go high. What you have now is a metamorphosis of many centuries of indoctrination by white society on the people who now represent us in Congress. Once you get elected, if you're black, high yellow, white, Jewish, Italian, or any of those other things that are right now socially acceptable, you believe in your heart of hearts that it is my obligation as a person out here that has been told I can have a piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli, a tortilla, and something else and survive, that it is okay for you to survive and flourish off of $180,000 per year, donations from AIPAC, and insider trading based on information you have on the stock market. That is what you want me to believe. Now, what white, peaceful Americans believe that want to have peaceful protest, believe that we are still in a time where we have a Supreme Court that has not been bought off by billionaires. Congressional members, white, black, and otherwise, who do not placate to special interests. We don't have a Thurgood Marshall. We don't have a John F. Kennedy. And we certainly do not have anymore a black and brown police force in any municipality in the United States of America that we can dial 911 and trust that they are going to come to our rescue and our defense. So this is what we are left with. Now, I am a big fan, or was, of Steve Schmidt. But he got on YouTube the other day and said, anybody who believes that we're not going to have 2026 elections, we're going to have these elections. The numbers do not add up. 50,000 Americans per day are arrested, beaten, or unalived, either on the streets of America, in ICE detention centers, or once they arrive overseas. and the new American slave trade. Yes, I said it. The slave trade. Black people, citizens of Africa, were kidnapped from their country, bought and sold in America by the same people that you try to convince us we need to obey because it is your law. Those people were brought here and enslaved. The difference between the American Revolution, the Civil War, and the slave trade is that the perpetrators of the atrocities are what we fought against in 1776. Now let me put that plain to you, how big this threat is. The British had to get in a boat and sail over here to fight against the revolutionaries. The greatest threat to the entire world, not America in 1776, but the entire world in 2026, is within our borders. The greater percentage of Americans support NATO still, despite this president or dictator. Now, when you have a beast in a cage, why would you not assist those who are going to set you free? Yeah, I said it. NATO is going to defend the rest of the world against the United States. And Democrats are asking you to give them money after you have lost your jobs, been doged, everything is higher. You can't afford a car right now. American children with college educations cannot afford to move out of their parents' houses. And these same motherfuckers that said that they did not get elected to impeach a president allowed this to happen. At the same time, they tell you there's nothing we can do. We don't have the majority. So I ask you this. If there's nothing they can do now because they don't have the majority, why should we elect them to do nothing again? They have done nothing since the blue wave. We have put young people on the line, criticized them, and called them radicals and socialists because they were coming into Congress to make change. Like AOC and Ilhan Omar. We let them, after we asked them to stand up for us, become victims of this system, become ostracized, have death threats. And all the while, as long as it didn't happen to the Clintonites and the old ass fossils in Congress like Nancy Pelosi, they didn't give a fuck until it happened to them. Nothing ever worries you until it happens to you. The time to stand up was back then. Unfortunately, the time for a general strike for most of us is over. If your skin is white, keep telling the rest of dumb America that a 2016 is going to happen, election is going to happen, and you're going to have accountability. You know what you can do for me? You can go fuck yourselves. Just like the Democratic politicians asking us for our vote. My loyalty is to Native American nations, my black community, and my Latino community. And my loyalty does not belong to your peaceful protest. If you are new to the game, you know, some podcaster or some asshole looking for clickbait, I really don't give a fuck. Because I'm going to survive you. Because all you're about is being on YouTube and getting this shit out there. You know, so you can be breaking news and this is what, you know, impeachment impending and all this bullshit. We've seen this movie before. This shit is not new. Here's what you do. Every single time you bring people of color in, you ask them to go out on the streets. You ask them to put their bodies on the line. And then you promise them another election. You put high yellow motherfuckers like, you know, Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries out there with blue eyes and light skin and try to make us believe that this is our representation. Our representation is AOC, Bernie Sanders, Jasmine Crockett, Chris Van Hollen, Jamie Raskin. It is a multicultural coalition. So don't try and buy our votes with the Clinton-esque House Negroes. Because we're not falling for that okie doke. And you can also stop contacting us asking for donations. Because of you and higher costs on food, let me be clear that the average American in blue states, since all of our subsidies have been cut off, okay, thanks to your white man in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, saying there was nothing we can do, and giving the whole government an unlimited power and money to ICE, saying he did it for some health care subsidies. Oh, I'm sorry, concepts and a discussion on health care subsidies. I have another problem with some things that happened this week. This is obviously a white thing. We are at our absolute and frank moment where we have been threatened with being outed. And they have lists and, you know, they got our food stamp data. I'm on Medicaid, so they got our data. We've been dodged. All that shit is out there. But yet I stand here. And I will absolutely die, not get elected and ask you for $20, but die for my family, my friends, and the people in my community right now. If ICE came to my house saying they needed to get in, I'm taking some motherfucker out with me. So what, I ask, white Democrats, are you doing in fucking Denmark? Two people have been shot in the face. One died and one is blinded for life. 4 Oglala Lakota Indians have been detained as illegal immigrants. Now, I get a lot of feedback saying, well, ICE has enforcement powers and they're the police. And what is illegal about their enforcement? What is illegal is that ICE has absolutely no jurisdiction on American citizens. Yet every time they show up in the streets of Minnesota, the first thing they do is walk out there like this and they start shooting fucking protesters. And that is not their job. And Democrats in Congress are placating to this bullshit. I am fucking sick of it. I am sick of talking about 2026 because I don't give two flying fucks about your election. You know why? Because I don't intend to be alive. I intend to do what the fuck you are too weak to do. I intend to keep my oath to America even though I'm a Native American and I didn't ask for this shit. This is my land and I intend to defend it. This is my family and my state, and I intend to defend that. Now, while you weaklings put out strongly worded letters, it's time for the rest of us to let the peaceful protesters do what they do because that's their thing and that's acceptable. We love them and it's great. And more of that is needed. We need every single solitary possible avenue to be covered because our Supreme Court will do nothing. Congress will do nothing. Our local police will do nothing, and I firmly believe that. Your survival is on you. It is not on anything but. And until you believe in yourself, the way you believe in these assholes that are selling you out to every swinging dick every day of the week, when you don't pay attention and you need your sleep and you have to go to your job and you don't have time for a general strike and you can't afford the money, when we are no longer here to stand for you, you're going to be definitely on your own. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take responsibility for my community. I'm not going to teach and talk about peace. I'm going to teach and talk about survival. I'm going to teach and talk about the next 7 generations and preservation. I'm going to talk about Donald Trump after they start gunning down people in the streets en masse, because that's what is next. And then everybody is going to run away, and then they're going to become an Anne Frank. And this is very important because today I had a really stimulating conversation with a woman who actually lived 1 year after. She was born 1 year after post-Nazi Germany in Germany. Now, this woman was born in Ireland, but for whatever reason, I didn't want to get in her business. She lived in Germany most of her childhood. And she told me she spoke fluent German and what it was like. And I was just totally taken aback. She eventually left Germany in the 1970s and came to the United States of America. And she told me that she had visited Anne Frank's house. And she told me she could hear. And it's the same thing I felt when I went into I don't know why I did it, but I visited a car that held Jews going to Dachau. And the car door was open. It was from a train. And I walked in and I couldn't stand it for 5 minutes because when I went in there, I could hear, and this is absolutely true, I could just hear the voices. I could smell the smells. I could hear the crying. I could see the babies. I could see all of that. And she said when she walked into Anne Frank's house, she had her husband take some pictures. And then she later looked at those pictures, and they traumatized her for life because she later got the description of what she was taking pictures of. We are in that moment. I don't expect and I don't care about living to get you elected in 2026. What I care about is what my constitutional rights are and defending yours. Now, I will say this also. It is my true belief that we are now abandoned by both parties. Now, before you get distressed about this, I will tell you this. There is an absolute defection from both the Democratic and Republican parties. Some of them call themselves independents, like this Irish woman, and the others are socialist. If you belong to one of these factions, stand down on who you support, because we're going to need you. There is no reason for you to go out there and get killed to save someone's job, because that is what we are looking at. By November, every black, brown, and red person is going to be hunted down when they go to vote. If you think I'm lying, you're a fucking idiot. If you think this is hyperbole, you're a fucking idiot. Because you will be defended by no one. Remember earlier, I told you you have no Supreme Court, no judges, no civil defense, and no police force. In any state you live in right now, you cannot trust any of them. If you want to go vote in 2026, if you live long enough, I suggest you arm yourselves, because that's exactly what you're going to have to do. We are only 17 days into the second year of this shit, and 75% of Project 2025 has already been implicated. What color is your skin, and where does that leave you? We need to stop also using words like, I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. Or law enforcement. Truth be told, and I have a track record of putting motherfuckers in a hospital. I'm sure they would come forward if I asked them to. But if you put your motherfucking hands on me and you don't have a badge and a warrant, we have a problem. And I have been trained enough that that problem might land you in the hospital. Now, that also applies to my property and my people are my community and Native Americans. That being said, I don't want to hear any more bullshit about elections, standing down, complying, not resisting, and all this kind of stuff. If you roll up to me with no badge, no warrant, and something that says police ICE with your face covered, as a person who suffers from PTSD, you're going to get fucked up. I will deal with the consequences later. I know that. And I am putting it on public record right now that I suffer from high anxiety and PTSD, and those are two of my disabilities. So everybody who sees this video, if you see me out in the street and something like that happens to me, it is on record. And that's another thing we need to do. We need to put stuff on record. Now, just because somebody gets on Fox News, and this is something we call them house Negroes, program Negroes, and other races. Just because Christy Nome or Stephen Miller said, it is law that you got to do this and all that, you need to look the law up. You need to stop taking a decree or somebody's statement as your need to comply. And that is a mistake these protesters have done, which is why I'm not doing it. Because every time somebody says something on Fox News or somebody makes a threat, does not mean that you have to be kidnapped or beaten. That is your choice. Under constitutional law and the law of most states, not only do you have the right to your own defense, but in some states, like the state of Maryland, you have the right to claim self-defense if you see someone getting brutally attacked. Yes, you do. And I have done it many times. I have seen many people brutally attacked in Washington, D.C. and Maryland, and I have intervened and kicked the shit out of all of them. And I did it alone, and I'll do it again. That's what you need to start thinking about. Stop thinking about elections and stop thinking about somebody coming to save you. Because you are your first line of defense. You are your first safety mechanism. And do not sell yourself short. Because I am absolutely sure that you have skills you have not even explored yet. And that's the problem with this resistance, or so-called resistance. Assault and battery by unidentified people is not law and order. Like I said, stop watching Fox News. This is bullshit. This is someone trying to convince you that they have power over you. Once again, I'm going to state, a man is only as powerful as he can convince you to believe that he is. That is Donald Trump. That is Christy Nome. That is Stephen Miller. And all of them. All of them. And even Democrats asking for your money. And asking for you to wait till 2026. Don't wait. Do it now. Because this is the only time you have to stop this shit. With 50,000 people per day being detained, disappeared, or arrested by ICE, we have 340 million occupants in the United States of America. We should not have peaceful protests in Minneapolis and Washington, D.C. What we should have is every able-bodied individual in both of those cities getting ready, standing up, and starting a revolution. Let me be clear, and we have done the numbers. With Donald Trump sending military all over the place, trying to take over countries, there are not and will not be enough within the next month ICE agents or American military to defeat the oppressed people of the United States. So get your shit together. I'm with Michael Fanone. Time to tool the fuck up. And that's what I'm hearing from everybody else around me, including people 80 years old. So it's time to flip the script. Get that V off your head. And stop being oppressed. Now, this is coming from someone who was born that way. If you are a politician or somebody running for office and you can't do that, it is high time you leave it to someone who can. If you want to get reelected for more of the same, time to get the fuck on. This ain't that kind of party, Jack. That shit, believe me, at least in this state, is over. Since you bankrupted us by ignoring the problem, we don't have $10 or $15 to send to your fucking campaign. We have to feed our families. And no longer can you use Donald Trump as a threat to us to reelect you. Because in your own words, there's nothing you can do. So we're going to stay home or draw from parties that can do something, that will do something. We have waited for elections enough. This shit is done. Time to post the fuck up. Lead, follow, or get the fuck out of our way. Because we are absolutely, without a doubt, coming. This is the Woke Socialist Podcast. Have a good day.